No, this is not just a box. And it's not a storage for potatoes either. This is the carcass of my next build, a top-of-the-line high cabinet for an office. It's made out of precious walnut and white Siberian birch. The build is perfect in every detail, just using invisible dowel and plate joint. And yes, the build is not complete. There will be a part 2 where I will show you the completion with doors, drawers and front panels. But that's something for another video. And as always, the challenge of the build is to realize the project with only some hand tools and in a corner of a normal double garage. So, if you're interested, keep on watching. So let's just jump right into it. We will start the build with the 2 side panels. They are made out of solid walnut, and as trees of this size are hard to find, we need to build the panels out of smaller pieces. So this will be the first step. So to convert a stack of narrow pieces of wood into a wide board for furniture building, there are in fact some tricks. So let's get rolling and do some woodworking. After preparing the solid wood boards, the glue now has time to cure. Next I will do the rough cutting of the white boards. For those I use Baltic birch plywood. The material is actually really nice, but has 2 downsides I need to clarify. The typical plywood edges does not really go together with the elegant modern furniture style that I'm looking for. And the white birch tends to turn yellow when oiled and even more over time. Okay, the rough cutting is finished. These are all boards the high cabinet is made from. Let's call it a day. It's getting too hot outside. And here's my solution to avoid the plywood edges. I cut a step to all of the front edges, which later will be covered with an edged stripe of white maple wood. The top layer of the ply still remains in place. Like that, the stripes are not visible from above. To retain and even brighten up the white color of the birch, I need to stain the wood. And that is the difference between stained and non-stained. You just saw me preparing all necessary boards for my first sub-assembly, which is the H-assembly, how I call it. That is the first step in an assembly sequence. And believe it or not, before the actual gluing, all of these boards need to be finished. It will be basically the interior of the high cabinet, which will later on very hard to access for sanding or for staining. So that is what you just saw me doing. All maple front stripes are attached. The biscuit joints are prepared. The surface is sanded and all inner surfaces are stained and final sanded. So next will be gluing, and that is the first real pivot point of the project. Keep on following and cross fingers that everything will go well. And if you ask yourself if there is by occasion a plan set available with all dimensions and maybe some other useful information like the assembly sequence, by chance the answer is yes. You can find it online in my plan shop. Link is below. Finally, the top and bottom panels need to be prepared and added. Adding the maple front stripes, preparing of biscuit joints, sanding, staining, and finally the gluing. And don't forget the toe kick panel, the foot of the cabinet. By now the walnut boards are cured and will be cut to size and attached. So, you just saw the next huge pivot point of the project, the gluing of the two walnut side panels. The challenges were that these panels needed to match exactly in dimension to the cabinet interior panels, for example at the top panel, and that the white stained surface without oiling is extremely sensitive to mutilation, for example from dust from the walnut or from my hands. But finally all went really well, and that is what the result looks like. And don't tell me it's just a box. Last for the carcass, the rear panel will be prepared and glued in place. So with the rear panel installed, I just finished up the build of the cabinet's corpus. All parts are in place and I'm really satisfied with the overall and especially the contrast between the walnut and the white birch. Now I will end up the build of the corpus with surface finish and with oiling. Keep on watching. With the edge shrouding of the walnut panels and the oiling, the build of the carcass is now complete. So let's have a closer look at the overall and some fine details. There's no problem nailing together a box as a cabinet, but after all, it's the sum of the many fine details that make the difference in the result. But also in building time. So, I hope you enjoyed this video and found some inspiration for your own build, and maybe the one or the other trick that you did not know so far. And if you liked it, please give me a thumb up and maybe you consider subscribing too. One last thing. The plans for the high cabinet are available in the plan shop. The link is in the description and on the channel header.